Welcome to a deep dive
Okay.
into this topic that's surprisingly relevant
Right.
to all of us, especially now with
Yeah.
all this AI stuff.
Definitely.
The power of asking the right questions.
Absolutely.
We're taking a close look at this article
Okay.
by a leadership expert, Tulia Lopes, called
Okay.
The Power of Questions: How AI
Right.
and Effective Questioning Can Transform Leadership.
Interesting.
It was published recently on March 1st, 2025.
Very recent.
You might be thinking AI and questions. What's the connection?
Right.
Well, get this. Lopes argues that AI, like ChatGPT, is actually forcing us to re-examine how we communicate.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to this idea of mastering the art of asking the right questions.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So
It's pretty fascinating how something we do every day, something that seems so simple, can have such a profound impact on, our leadership, our decision making,
yeah.
even our relationships.
Absolutely. And Lopes kicks off her article with this really captivating anecdote.
I like a good story.
It's about a high-stakes meeting
Okay.
where things are going nowhere, everyone's kind of stuck in their own heads,
Yeah.
and then someone just throws out this seemingly simple question.
Yeah.
What if we looked at this from the client's perspective?
Oh.
And boom,
Wow.
the whole dynamic shifts.
Interesting.
Suddenly everyone's engaged.
Right.
New ideas start flowing, and they actually end up reaching a solution they never would have considered before.
So that story really highlights
Yeah.
this core principle of leadership.
Right.
The quality of our decisions is directly linked to the quality of the questions we ask.
I see.
It's not about having all the answers.
Right.
It's about knowing what questions to ask to unlock those solutions.
It's funny because we're so used to thinking about leaders as the ones who have all the answers.
Right.
But what if the real key to leadership is actually being the best question asker in the room?
That's a really interesting perspective.
Right.
And it's particularly relevant now in 2025 with the rise of AI like ChatGPT. Think about it. We talk to AI by asking it questions.
Right. The better the question,
Exactly.
the better the response.
And Lopes argues that the same principle applies to our human interactions.
Okay.
If we want better outcomes, whether it's in a team meeting, a negotiation, or even just a casual conversation, we need to get better at asking the right questions.
So it's not just about using AI to get answers.
Right.
It's about using it to help us ask better questions in general.
It makes you think.
That's kind of mind-blowing.
It is, isn't it? It makes you wonder,
Yeah.
what are the key ingredients to creating
Right.
a culture where questions are truly valued?
Well, Lose outlines 3 key strategies for building what she calls a culture of questioning.
I like that.
Within organizations.
Right.
And I think these apply to any group setting, really.
Yeah.
The first strategy is creating a safe space for questions.
This one's huge.
Right.
So many people are afraid to ask questions because they don't want to seem uninformed or like they're not as smart as everyone else I know have been there.
Oh, totally. Especially in a professional setting.
Yeah.
It can feel risky to admit you don't know something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Lopes argues that effective leaders need to kind of dismantle that fear.
Okay.
They need to show their teams that questioning isn't a sign of weakness.
Right.
It's a sign of intellectual curiosity
Yeah.
and a desire to understand things more deeply.
So how do you actually create that safe space? What does that look like in practice?
Lopes gives a great example of a marketing team leader who, instead of assuming everyone is on the same page, asks, what assumptions are we making about our audience?
Okay.
Have we validated them?
Yeah.
It's such a simple question,
Right.
but it can completely change the direction of a campaign.
It avoids those costly missteps down the road,
Yeah.
all because someone was brave enough to ask.
Right.
Okay, so creating a safe space.
Okay.
Check.
Strategy number 2.
Leading by example.
Okay.
Leaders need to model
Yeah.
the behavior they want to see in their teams.
So less telling and more asking.
Exactly.
Instead of giving directives, they're posing questions that encourage their team to think critically and come up with their own solutions.
Exactly. Lopes uses the example of improving customer retention.
Right.
Instead of saying, we need to improve customer retention,
Yeah.
a leader who embodies this strategy would ask,
Okay.
what feedback are we ignoring?
That could change our approach.
Interesting.
Or, what do our most loyal customers value most?
Yeah.
It's about shifting from a mindset of giving answers to a mindset of
Yeah.
fostering exploration and discovery.
I like that. From answers to exploration, it really flips the script on traditional leadership, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not about being the smartest person in the room. It's about being the one who asks the smartest questions.
It's about creating this culture
Yeah.
of curiosity and collaboration.
Okay, so we've got a safe space. We've got leaders setting the example. What's the third strategy for building?
The third strategy is training teams in effective questioning techniques.
Okay.
Because, not all questions are created equal.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting for me.
Okay.
What are some of these techniques?
Right.
Give me the inside scoop.
So she highlights 4 powerful questioning techniques that leaders should equip their teams with. First up, open-ended questions.
Okay.
These are questions that start with what, how, or why, and encourage deeper, more thoughtful responses.
So instead of asking, are you happy with the project's progress?
Yeah.
Which could just lead to a simple yes or no. You'd ask something like, what are your thoughts on the project's progress?
Exactly.
To get a more nuanced understanding.
It's about inviting people to share their perspectives and insights rather than just giving a binary response.
Okay.
The second technique is asking clarifying questions.
Okay.
These are questions that help to ensure that everyone is on the same page and understands the information being discussed.
Okay.
Things like, can you elaborate on that point?
Yeah.
Or could you give an example of what you mean?
Those are super helpful, especially when you're dealing with complex topics.
Right.
Or when you're working with a team from diverse backgrounds.
Absolutely.
It's about making sure everyone feels heard and understood.
And the third technique
Okay.
is challenging assumptions.
Okay.
These are questions that encourage people to think critically about the information they're presented with and to consider alternative perspectives.
So it's about shaking things up a bit and preventing groupthink, making sure you're not just blindly following the crowd.
It's about encouraging healthy debate and critical thinking.
I see.
And finally, the fourth technique is reflective questions. These are questions that encourage people to think about their experiences and to learn from them. This could involve asking, what did we learn from this experience? Or how can we apply what we've learned to future projects?
It's about taking a step back. And really analyzing what worked, what didn't, and how you can improve moving forward.
Right.
I love how these techniques...
And you know what's really fascinating? Lopes argues that AI can actually help us.
Okay, now we're getting to the AI connection. Lopes specifically mentions ChatGPT.
Right.
What role does she see AI playing in all of this?
She envisions AI as a potential questioning coach.
Oh, wow.
A tool that can help us refine how we ask questions and ultimately communicate more effectively.
I see.
It's not just about using ChatGPT to generate content or get quick answers. It's about leveraging its capabilities to improve the way we interact and exchange ideas.
That's a really intriguing concept. I'm eager to hear more.
So for starters, imagine using ChatGPT to analyze your communication patterns. It could highlight areas where you tend to make assumptions or where your questions are too closed-ended.
It's like having a personal communication coach in your pocket.
Providing real-time feedback on your questioning skills.
And beyond individual development, think about the possibilities for teams. Imagine using ChatGPT to facilitate brainstorming sessions, helping teams generate more creative and innovative solutions by prompting them with thought-provoking questions.
It's like having an AI-powered facilitator guiding the conversation and ensuring everyone's ideas are heard and considered. This is really making me think about how I ask questions, both in my personal and professional life. I'm definitely guilty of falling into those autopilot questions sometimes. But Lopes' point about AI being a questioning coach, that really resonates with me.
I think it resonates with a lot of people. We're so used to thinking about AI as a tool for providing answers. But what if its real power lies in helping us ask better questions?
It's a total paradigm shift.
It is. But before we get too carried away with the possibilities of AI, let's not forget that it's still a tool. And like any tool, it's only as good as the person using it.
Lopes is very clear about that. She emphasizes that AI, like ChatGPT, is only as effective as the questions we ask it.
Right.
Just like in human conversations, if we input vague or unclear prompts, we'll receive equally vague and unhelpful responses.
So it all comes back to the human element. Right. No matter how advanced the technology gets, the art of asking the right questions will always be crucial.
Exactly. And this is where Lopes makes a really interesting point.
Right.
She believes that if we use these generative AI tools, like ChatGPT, not just as tools that give answers, but as agents for deeper dialogue, we can actually expand our knowledge.
Interesting.
And improve our communication skills.
So it's not about AI replacing human interaction, but rather enhancing it, helping us become better communicators and thinkers.
Exactly.
I love that idea. It's not about AI taking over. It's about AI helping us level up.
And Lopes takes that idea even further, connecting it to the future of leadership.
Right.
She argues that in a world increasingly shaped by AI, leaders who excel at asking the right questions will have a distinct advantage.
So it's not just about keeping up with technology. It's about using it to become better communicators, more effective leaders, and ultimately more insightful human beings. It feels like a call to action, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
To really step up our questioning game and not be afraid to challenge the status quo.
It's about being curious. And always looking for those better questions.
Lopes wraps up her article by posing 3 powerful questions to her readers. And I think these are worth pondering for all of us. Okay, hit me with those questions. I'm ready for the challenge.
The first question is, are you fostering a culture where questioning is encouraged?
It's a gut check moment, isn't it?
It is.
Are we truly creating spaces where people feel safe to ask questions? Challenge assumptions and contribute their unique perspectives? And if not, what can we do to change that?
The second question is, are you leveraging AI to enhance, not replace meaningful dialogue?
That's about finding that balance, isn't it?
It is.
Embracing the potential of AI without losing sight of the human element of connection and understanding.
And the final and perhaps most important question Lopes asks is, are you asking the right questions to drive better outcomes?
That's the ultimate test, isn't it?
It is.
Are we asking the questions that matter? The questions that will lead to real insights, innovation, and progress.
The questions that will help us make a positive impact on the world.
It's such a powerful reminder.
Yeah.
That it's not about having all the answers.
Right.
But about having the courage and the curiosity to keep asking questions.
And to bring this full circle, remember that anecdote Lopes shared at the beginning about the high-stakes meeting. That was going nowhere. There's a single question.
Right.
What if we looked at this from the client's perspective?
Wow.
That shifted everything.
It's amazing.
It's amazing how a simple shift in perspective, prompted by the right question, can unlock so much potential.
Totally.
This whole conversation has been so eye-opening.
Me too.
I feel like I have a whole new appreciation for the power of questions.
It's really made me think about how I can be more intentional about the questions I ask, both of myself and others.
And to embrace that childlike curiosity that we often lose sight of.
As adults, it's about remembering that it's okay to not have all the answers. And in fact, it's often in those moments of not knowing that the most interesting discoveries are made.
Absolutely.
It's about approaching the world with a sense of wonder and a willingness to keep asking,
I like that.
What if? And why not?
And who knows, maybe the next breakthrough idea, the next world-changing innovation will be sparked by a simple yet powerful question.
That's a great note to end on. But before we wrap up part 1, I have a question for you and for all our listeners.
All right.
It's the question Lopes poses to her readers at the end of the article.
Yeah.
What's the best question you've asked recently that led to a breakthrough?
I'll have to think about that one.
We'll be back after a short break to share our own answers.
Okay.
And hear some of yours.
Sounds good.